Yo, what's going on, y'all? Boxing heads. Just want to rap to y'all this morning. Out doing my thing. Brother got to work. But yo, I don't even know where to begin with some of y'all fans, man. I mean, some of y'all, I swear to God, y'all watch boxing like it's the WWE. Like, you just tune in for your favorite character. You want to see the Undertaker, for God's sakes. You want to, John Cena, whatever you do. And you don't care who they're wrestling. You don't care. You just came to see your favorite guy. And you don't, as long as they win, it doesn't matter, right? That brings me to specifically Terence Crawford, but really I'm talking about Canelo too. I get those two fan bases on paper or at first glance seem different, but y'all are the same. The amount of caping, I mean, does somebody yell Avengers Assemble before y'all come out here and cape for Terence Crawford and make excuses for him? Does that happen? Do you have spandex at the ready? Slide into that and put on some knee-high red boots and fly out the window to save this dude? Look, when you get online and you have criticisms, valid criticisms and expectations for fighters that are supposed to be the best fighter in the world, the number one pound for pound best fighter in the world, and that, again, this goes for Canelo or Terence Crawford, because both of these dudes do a lot of the same stuff. And y'all are cool with it because that's your favorite wrestler. That's the guy. You buy your little tickets and you want to go see him beat up on whoever. Bury. It doesn't matter to y'all. You don't care. As long as that's what's going down. At the end of the day, you get to celebrate your favorite guy. You know what? I would suggest you watch wrestling instead of boxing. Go to the movies. You want to see Dwayne "The Rock" Johnson save the world? That's more suited for your palate, I believe, because you don't really want to see what would actually happen. You prefer a nice story that mom or dad can tell you as they tuck you in. They give you some warm milk by your bed, and you want to hear a nice feel-good tale of your favorite hero doing what he does. That's cool. I mean, I get it. It's a more juvenile take, and it speaks to a need for some other things. But I watch boxing, my man. I watch the sport of boxing to see the best fight the best. I'm a student of fighting. Been a martial artist my whole life. I've watched boxing since I was a kid in the 80s. And I'm not going to do no nostalgic trip down memory lane and, the fighters of today. No. I'm not going to indict the new folks that are out here trying to do what real fighters do. There are plenty of guys that are still doing that right now, today. I could go off on a tangent about the weirdness, the weird team sports mentality stuff that y'all got going on in the lightweight division with Haney and Shakur and Tank. But that's another time, that's another place. My focus right now, we're going to talk about Terence Crawford, and like I said, to a lesser degree, Canelo Alvarez, because that's just not the focal point. I'm fresh off conversations where I had a tweet that I was like, look, thank God Terence Crawford is not fighting at 135 pounds now, because we wouldn't get shit. We wouldn't get nothing. With all the talent there, we wouldn't get nothing from him. Devin Haney and Lomachenko and Tank and Ryan Garcia have given us more in the state of a few months than Terence Crawford has in years. These dudes is like, I asked specifically, I want names of Terence Crawford's marquee fights. What are the feathers in his cap to quote Antonio Tarver's weird ass, what are the feathers in his cap that at the end of the day we're going to point to this and be like, this is why this man is pound for pound the best fighter in the sport? What names are you going to give me? What are you going to tell me? So when I'm online asking, like, yo, they're like, oh, you're tripping. Oh, take this post down. Oh, this is crazy. Give me the names. They're like, oh, he had all the belts. I asked for names and you gave me belts. You said belts. There's a difference. Yes, titles are very important. I'm one of those guys that I'm an advocate for titles. The titles are important. That's what we're doing. But it's about who did you beat for the titles? Did you get, because y'all had a whole lot of stuff to say about Devin Haney, email champ, but now it's about the belts. Is it about the belts or it's about who he fought to get the belts? You could probably order a replica WBC belt and have it yourself. You got a belt. Did you beat anybody for that belt? The man makes the belts don't make the man. Listen, man. Terrence Crawford has the opportunity, and he has had, matter of fact, for years he's had an opportunity to have marquee fights, but he doesn't seem to care about that. If he cared about that, listen, I get that some of y'all have a raging, an engorged organ in your trunks for certain fighters, and I get how that goes, and it messes with your mind. Maybe the blood supply, as it leaves your brain and pushes to other regions of your body, you've lost your ability to discern. Terrence Crawford has had the ability to sign with the PBC years ago, when Danny Garcia was still at 47, when Sean Porter was still at the peak of his powers. Errol Spence obviously was there. There was talent and people to fight that would have bolstered his name and that would have given credence to who many of us have said or say Terrence Crawford actually is. But you can't just make him be who you want him to be when he keeps demonstrating to you that he is somebody else. There is no validation. So I ask for the marquee fights. What are his signature wins? If you heard him tell it when asked a similar question, he told you Hank Lundy was a signature win. Now, no disrespect, because I'm never a guy that's going to ever call fighters bums. I don't do that. I mean, I know what it is to get in the ring and put yourself on the line. Not on a professional level, but I know. I mean, I know. I've taken the punishment. I know what it is. I know what it extracts from you to be punched, to be kicked, knee, elbow. I know what that is. The opportunity, the biggest opportunity in Terrence Crawford's life, and he has essentially effed it off with a litany, a bevy, a cornucopia of excuses. And that's what they amount to. At the end of the day, I just had this talk with my kids on the way to school, because my youngest has really been on some BS lately. You are a culmination of your choices. Not your words, not your wishes, not your druthers, your choices and your actions. What you've actually done is who you are. Not who you say you are. Not who a bunch of fanboys that strap on their utility belts and cape for a guy say you are. You are what you do or what you don't do. Look, I'm not in the business of falling in love with fighters. I've been watching boxing for way too long to be that guy. You learn, and so some of you cats is young, and you're either young in terms of your newness to following boxing, or you're young in terms of your actual age, or both. So you haven't really had as many experiences as guys who've been following the sport closely for decades have had in terms of falling in love with fighters, really loving fighters, wanting things from fighters, and seeing fighters through lenses that are too heavily biased in their favor because you want them to be what you see in them, or what you want them to be a hero for you. And ultimately, these people are people, and you have to look at them a little bit more objectively if you are to keep your own integrity intact. You're not going to hear me cape inexplicably for any particular fighter when it comes to jeopardizing my own personal integrity as a person and making sure that my opinion is as unbiased as I can help it be. I'm a human being, so are you. Nobody's going to be flawless in that way. But you really got to try to look at things from both sides and take the evidence at hand and come to your conclusion, man. Look, to have the, and I know some of y'all don't like this A side, B side talk. I get it, I understand. But it's the nature of the beast. It is what it is. There are concessions that the less popular fighter, the fighter that does not get as much attention from fans and ultimately generate as much money through pay-per-view, through gate, through merchandising, or whatever else is that is peripheral to the sport of boxing, that fighter is not going to dictate terms. That's the way it is. So now you have a guy who is the less heralded, less known, less followed, certainly less financially supported fighter in Terence Crawford, walking away, pulling out of negotiations without good faith, mind you. He didn't say anything to the Spence camp about his negotiations with BLK Prime or David Avenesian. He pulled out of the largest fight, the one that we've all been talking about for years. He pulled out of those negotiations and entered a fight on an unknown app against a fighter no one cared to see him fight. Those are, my friends, what we call the facts. You can, he's getting the bag. Get out of here, man. Get out of here. Yo, some of y'all unemployed right now. Stop with the bag. Your wishful thinking and your hopes, what you would do. What you would do, you not pound for, nobody's saying you're pound for pound nothing. So we're not concerned with what you would do or what you wouldn't do. And if you are the kind of guy that would shirk your responsibility as the supposed best fighter in the sport, the pound for pound guy, the face of boxing, if you would make those same kind of decisions, I'd be on here talking about you, Slim. I'd be on here talking about you. Because you're not a man of integrity, if that's what you're talking about. You're telling me he wouldn't get the bag fighting Errol? Huh? Stop, man. What? You get the glory and the bag. So what are you talking about? Look, one of the biggest knocks, and I intended to make, and I still may at some point make a video about this, but because I thought about this when it comes to guys like Canelo versus the careers of Roy Jones and Mike Tyson, for example. The biggest knocks on those guys is that they did not have contemporaries or perceived equals, certainly not in the way that Canelo and Terence Crawford have had. The amount of opponents, marquee, signature, established, future Hall of Fame kind of guys to prove himself against and to create a legacy with. Terence Crawford's had these opportunities. Certainly with Errol Spence, this is a solidifying, clarifying fight for him. You know, folks want to talk about what Errol does or does not do. Let me tell you something about established intent as it pertains to Errol Spence. Errol has had more significant fights with COVID, with a car crash, with a detached and or torn retina, a retina injury, an eye injury. He has done more with that in his life than Terence Crawford has had without those things. Obviously, Terence Crawford had to deal with C-19 too. But look, As soon as Errol can get back in the game, he's back in the game against real competition. Nobody would have really criticized Errol Spence if he came off that car crash and was like, you know what, let me fight David Avenesian because I need to get back into the groove and make sure my body's good. Or let me, coming off that eye injury, let me fight David Avenesian because, I'm just trying to get back into the groove, make sure my eyes are right. He ain't do none of that. Terrence has not done that without those problems. Without those issues and obstacles. He hasn't done that. How many times? Look, the funny thing about some of y'all, you make excuses for fighters. The same kind of evidence could be provided for you and especially as insecure as some of y'all are. If your girl showed you as many red flags as Terrence Crawford has, you'd be bad-mouthing her on the internet every day. You'd have broke up with her, blocked her, but still on some low, probably stalked her like a weirdo. You'd have done all kinds of weird behavior because you know the way that her words and her actions are not aligned. They are misaligned. They don't really jive, as the old timers would say. It wouldn't really make sense. But because for whatever reason, perhaps you see yourself in Terrence, or I don't know what it is that causes you guys, same with the Canelo fans, I don't know what it causes you guys to not be able to take a step back and look at some of the actions and the excuses given for taking the paths they've taken, man. You gotta stop. Cut it out. Cut it out. That Bam be like, oh, Terrence is training for a fight right now. Against who? First of all, Bama, you don't know that. You don't know that. Yes, I'm trying not to cuss on this video. Y'all, you don't even know that. He's staying at the gym, so he's training. But for who? For who? To do what? Y'all keep getting let down. Y'all are like Charlie Brown, and Terrence Crawford is like Lucy. And every time she put that football up, y'all Bammers go out there, hot Bammers, some of y'all cold Bammers, there's a difference. If you're from DMV, you know what it is. And y'all go out there and swear this is the time that you're going to really get to kick that ball. That Lucy's going to leave the ball there and let y'all kick this ball. Finally, today's the day. And then she yanks that ball and you fall and bust her behind. That's Terrence Crawford. That's the life, a day in the life of fandom of Terrence Crawford. Except the difference is y'all seem to enjoy missing the ball and falling on your back. It's crazy what you're doing. And I don't care. You could call it hate if you want to. I don't hate Terrence Crawford. I want better for Terrence Crawford. I don't hate Canelo. I want better for Canelo. Y'all don't. The funny thing is, I have more faith in those two fighters. The two fighters I'm criticizing in this video, I have more faith in them than you do. Because if you had the faith that I had, you'd put them in the ring. But you don't. And you don't even want that. You don't even want that to happen. Because it would shatter, it stands the chance of shattering the illusion of your preferred narrative when it comes to those two fighters. You want to play make-believe and they should make action figures. They should make Terrence Crawford and Canelo action figures, and y'all can, you can fly through the air, and he could beat everybody. Terrence Crawford, you'd be better suited. I think you would get the things that you want from the adventure, because that's what it is. Y'all are going on an adventure. Y'all. I mean, I'm a comic book guy, but y'all seem to live in the fantasy world. It's a weird thing that I'm the guy that reads comics and y'all are the ones that live in the fantasy. Maybe it's because I can distinguish fantasy from reality. So when I want an escapism drenched in fantasy and superpowers and heroics and things of that nature, I would go to a comic book because I know that's not real. I look at boxing for reality. I look at boxing for what's real. I look at fighting for what's real. And I don't think most of y'all don't really want that. If Errol Spence loses to Terrence Crawford, fine. Does that somehow translate to my bank account? Does my Cash App light up? Do I get a notification from Zelle when that happens, or does it happen? I mean, do I lose money? Come on, man. I mean, if you love these guys like you say you do, first of all, if there's one differentiating factor between Canelo fans and Terrence Crawford fans, at least them Canelo fans is paying for the pay-per-view. At least these Bammers are buying and supporting and putting their money where their mouth is and supporting the guy. Half Man, look, like I said, I'm not gonna cuss on this video, but half of y'all Bammers, because you're a Bama. Half of y'all either illegally stream Terrence Crawford fights. Y'all didn't buy no BLK Prime. You didn't get no BLK Prime. You didn't buy David Avenesian. You didn't. If you supported Terrence Crawford financially the way that you support him online, maybe he would be the B-side. But y'all are deadbeat ass fans. See, I'm trying not to cut. Y'all are deadbeat ass fans who just be online talking because you got a problem with Errol Spence, or you got a problem with Al Heyman, or you got a problem with Floyd Mayweather, you got a problem with the PBC. And these are your problems that you're projecting onto something else. You know what I mean? You call me a hater. That shit is hate. Damn, see, I'm out here cussing. That's hate. I just want to see good fights because I'm a fan of boxing over boxers. And that's a lot of y'all's problem. Y'all a fan of boxers. Boxing, the sport, is secondary to your fandom. You want to be able to put on that cape. And if we're not playing Captain Saver, bro, you don't get to wear that cape. You got to stay Clark Kent. You don't get to rush into the phone booth and switch into your tighties. You don't get to do that. Maybe some of y'all need it. Maybe you want the cradling. So somehow you're living in a situation where you get to do that for your favorite fighter because you didn't get coddled enough. I don't know. I don't really know what drives y'all, for real, because I'm not that type of dude. I don't get it. Sorry. I don't get it. So anyway, look. Oh my God, why is that doing that? I guess this whiz kid wants to be heard. So look, y'all. What I want, obviously, I want the fight with Errol Spence. But for me personally, I'm at a place where I would prefer Errol Spence just move to 54, man. Just move to 54. I'm tired of waiting around for nonsense that's probably not even going to happen, man. If it happens, fantastic. Great. I'll be there. I will actually pay for the pay-per-view because that's what I do. Some of y'all are deadbeat, illegal, streaming, and just get online and yap, flap your gums, flap your lips, bump your gums, talking at the side of your neck, and then y'all rob the fighters. You rob the fighters. You know, he's getting the bag. He ain't getting the bag from you. Pay-per-view ass, stealing ass. Man, look, I'm about done. But I had to get this off my chest because I'm tired of the excuses. Terrence Crawford is closer to 40 than 30. We need this. This has to end. This has to end, y'all. It's got to end. Make a real fight, a fight that is worthy of us spending our hard-earned money on pay-per-view for, or just retire and stop wasting our time. That applies to Canelo too. Stop wasting our time. If you're done, you don't really want to do it anymore, the motivation ain't really there, cool, I get that. Bruh, that's cool. Just hang them up then, man. And y'all stop caping for these dudes. It's embarrassing, man. It really is. You should be embarrassed. You should be. Anyway, it's your man Lord, Ring Dragon TV. I'll holler at y'all, man. I got some other stuff coming down the pipeline, but I'm done. All right, peace.